Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom, main-handed knives built where the real ones at, from broken dreams.
Welcome back to another episode of the 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez. This show is for those who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life that they have always wanted, one that is earned, not just handed to them. And today I want to talk about a word that most people don't like. A word that usually comes with a negative connotation. A word that makes people a little uncomfortable when they hear it. That word is obsessed. And you might already be reacting to this because when we hear the word obsessed, we think unhealthy, extreme, out of balance, workaholic, addicted, and tunnel vision, or maybe creepy. If someone says, man, that guy is obsessed, this usually is not meant as a compliment. It usually means that guy is too much. He needs to relax, or he needs to chill. He needs to get a life. But I want to challenge that idea today, because what if I told you the problem isn't that you're obsessed? The problem is that you're obsessed with the wrong things. And the truth that most people don't really want to admit is you are already obsessed with something because everybody is. There's no such thing as a neutral human being. No one is just floating through life without being devoted to something. You don't accidentally spend 3 hours on your phone at night. You don't accidentally check social media, sports scores, or email 20 times a day. You don't accidentally binge a show on Netflix or YouTube. You don't accidentally avoid the gym. You don't accidentally keep putting off the thing that you know that you should be doing. You don't accidentally go through the drive-thru and order a dozen donuts or that mega cheeseburger that you like so much with extra bacon and cheese. That's not accidental. That's not random. That's devotion. That's attention. That's priority. That's an obsession, whether you like it or not. Your life is not shaped by what you say you care about. Your life is shaped by what you consistently give time, energy, and focus to. So the real question is not, am I obsessed? The real question is, what am I obsessed with? And where is it taking me? We like to treat obsession like it's always unhealthy. But think about it this way for a second. Every great body that you've ever admired, that wasn't built by someone who was kind of working out. That was built by someone who was obsessed. Every elite athlete, they're obsessed too. They don't show up when they feel like it. They don't just train when they think it's convenient. They don't just eat the right way when it's easy. They're obsessed. Every great business you respect, they're obsessed too. Nobody builds something meaningful by working on it sometimes. Nobody accidentally builds a great company. Nobody stumbles into excellence. They have to work at it every single day. Every incredible marriage that you have observed and actually lasts, that is two people that are obsessed with doing it right, obsessed with communication, with growing, with fighting for their relationship instead of coasting. Nobody drifts into greatness. Nobody kind of cares their way into a powerful life. Everything great is built by people who care an unreasonable amount. Now let's talk about the wrong kinds of obsession, because some obsessions are not just harmless. Some obsessions are slow, quiet, socially acceptable forms of self-destruction. If you're obsessed with video games, porn, scrolling, comfort, distraction, cheap dopamine hits, escaping, being entertained, finding a way to be numb, overeating, drugs, that's not a hobby, that's a direction. And take video games, for example. Unless your plan is to become a professional gamer, maybe a game designer or a streamer, that obsession is not taking you where you say you want to go. And this is where people start lying to themselves. They say things like, it's just how I relax. No, it's how you avoid. They say, I deserve this. Maybe, but do you deserve the life it's creating? They say it's not that big of a deal. Neither's one cigarette or one bad meal or a missed workout or one night of procrastination. But compounded over years, it becomes your life. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, says a habit missed once is a mistake. A habit missed twice is the beginning of a new habit. So the choice is yours. You can either have a misstep and make a mistake by missing your habit, or you can compound that habit into a new habit by missing it every time. Most people are not lacking motivation. They're not that lazy. They might think they are, but they're really not. They're not incapable. They might play it, but they're not. They're just deeply committed to the wrong things. They have an incredible consistency, incredible discipline, incredible devotion. They just aim it at the wrong things that are slowly destroying their future. Let me say that again because it's important. Most people don't lack discipline. They're just disciplined to the wrong direction. They show up every day for a life that they don't want. Let's say that you were a pilot. You are going to go from Chicago to California. You have the general direction. You know you need to go that way. So you just set off and you point the plane in the right direction. If you just let it go and just hold that direction, you might get there. But there's a high probability that you're not going to, because there are little things that you have to do to make sure you're on course and on track to reaching your destination. If you don't do those things, you're going to land way off course. You're shooting for California. Maybe you land in Washington. You're kind of close, but that is not where you wanted to end up. You can take that example into driving a car. Your alignment's good. You have a brand new vehicle. For the most part, it drives straight. But if you're going from point A to point B, you have to make turns and curves and other things to get there. And you have to make disciplined choices on getting your vehicle and yourself to that destination. There's little things you have to do and stay up on top of, or you will never make it. What if you were obsessed with building your business, becoming disciplined, having a legendary marriage, being a present father or mother, building a strong, capable body, building financial stability, becoming someone your kids are proud of, become someone you respect when you look in the mirror, becoming the example to those around you and not a disappointment, not a letdown. Now, suddenly the word obsessed doesn't sound so unhealthy now, does it? Now it sounds like focus, commitment, standards, identity, and building the life that you've always wanted. It sounds like someone who decided to stop living by accident and to live on purpose, disciplined, ready to execute with the identity they know who they are and where they want to be. But here's where this can actually get dangerous. You can be obsessed with a good thing and it can still destroy your life. You can build a monster business and your marriage quietly dies. You can build an insane physique, but your kids don't know who you are. You provide everything financially, but emotionally, you are never there. You are not present. You become successful and completely empty. You wake up one day and realize, I won, but I lost everything that made the winning matter. That's not success. That's just trading one regret for another. And this is where people start justifying. They say things like, this is just a season. And sometimes that's true. You have seasons where you can be eyebrow deep into work, and that takes a lot of your focus. There are seasons where your health needs more of you. There are seasons where your family needs more of you. There are seasons when you have to put your head down and just grind. That's just life. But seasons have end dates. Spring becomes summer, summer becomes fall, and then fall becomes winter. Seasons have boundaries most of the time, unless you live in Ohio and you're not sure what season it is at the current moment. But they have a clear purpose. If you've been in a busy season for 5 years, that's not the season. That's a life you're hiding inside. You're not executing. You're not getting disciplined on the things that matter, and you're not making it happen. Now, let's take a page out of the 10X rule by Grant Cardone. He said, I don't want balance. I want it all. What he's saying that he wants it all in every part of his life to be rocking and rolling, not just one. He wants to have a great marriage. He wants to have a great business. He wants to have great kids and have the time with them that is needed. It may not always be a crazy day of dedicated time with them, but he sets dedicated time away from everything else where he is present in the moment for each of those areas. Here's a brutally honest exercise. That's a new one. Anyway, that I introduced in a previous episode. If someone followed you around for 30 days, what would they say you were obsessed with? Not what you say you care about, not what you wish you cared about, what your calendar says about you, what your bank account says about you, what your energy says about you, and what your habits say that you really care about. Your phone, your comfort, your work, your excuses, your growth, maybe your family, mission, body. Your life is already answering this question every single day. Let me give you another one. This one's quieter, more subtle, and honestly, more common. Most people don't wake up one day 80 pounds overweight. Most people don't wake up one day terrible labs, no energy, and achy joints. It happens 5 pounds at a time. One skipped workout at a time. One I'll start Monday at a time. Maybe it's I'm just tired. One of those at a time. I know a guy, sharp, great dad, good husband, but every year a little more tired, less energy, a little bit more out of breath every year. And one day, his kids asked him, Dad, why don't you ever run around with us? That one question can hit harder than the scale could ever hit. And the scary part is that he did not choose that life. He drifted into it. One day at a time. One decision, one excuse. And here's the truth that most people really never face. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your obsessions. That might sound familiar, but it's the same idea as you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your habits. Your habits and your obsessions are very closely linked, and they work hand in hand. I want you to think about something uncomfortable for a second. One day could be far from now, might be sooner than you think. You're going to be at the end. We're all going to be there. Might all be in different hospitals, different rooms. Same outcome for all of us. And nobody in that bed wishes they'd watched more TV. Nobody wished they'd scrolled more on their phone. Nobody wished they had played more video games. Nobody wishes they had answered more emails. They wish they had been more present, more patient, more intentional, more courageous, more honest about what actually mattered. Lived life, maybe more living of life more to the fullest. And the scary part, most people don't regret the things that they did. They regret the things that they never became or never did or never came to realize in their life. They didn't reach their full potential because they regret their standards they abandoned. They regret the life they kept postponing. They regret who they kept telling themselves they would become someday. But the thing about someday is it has an expiration date, and you don't get a warning when yours is close. Your goals are just words. Your obsessions are what you actually live. Whatever you repeatedly do and give your attention to, that's who you are becoming. Quietly, slowly, automatically, like you're on autopilot. You don't decide your future one day at a time. You decide it one action, obsession, or habit at a time. There's a real difference between two different kinds of people in this world: operators and drifters. A drifter lives by default. Everything's coming at them. Everything is reactionary. They play their life in reaction mode. They don't decide their days. Their days decide them. They react, they cope, they manage, they get through. They don't build their lives. They end up in it. Operator lives by design. They decide who they are. They decide what they stand for. They decide what matters. They decide what gets their obsession. And there's a key difference. Drifters have preferences. Operators have standards. Preferences are negotiable. Standards are not. A drifter says, I'll try. An operator says, this is who I am. A drifter hopes that life changes. An operator builds the life that they want. So the question would be, what's your identity? Because your identity always wins. Not your goals, not your intentions, not your motivation, but your identity. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. So the question is, who are you? And what kind of man or woman are you willing to stop being? Because once you set that, your obsessions start to organize themselves. A real operator is obsessed with their body, their mind, their mission, their tribe. Not perfectly and not always evenly, but they are intentional. They don't let one pillar grow so big that it crushes all the others. Because life is not always about balance. Life is about alignment. What season are you in? What actually needs your focus right now? And are you being honest about that? Or are you hiding behind busyness? And here's the part that hits the hardest. You don't get to choose whether you're obsessed. You only get to choose what you're obsessed with. And whatever that is what you're building your life around. I will leave you with this. Build your life on purpose. Choose your obsession. Or you will wake up one day and realize you have been extremely devoted to a life you never actually wanted. If this episode helps you think clearer, act stronger, maybe it was a reality check, share it with someone that you care about. And if you haven't yet, leave a 5-star review for the show. It helps the message reach more and more people who need it. Freedom isn't found. It's built one obsessed decision at a time. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And I will catch you guys on the next one.